Hello, and welcome to Season 1, Race 12 of my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. We are here in Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. Now, we are on the pole. Of course, we do pretty well in Italy, typically. Even in the wet, qualified pretty well. Obviously, you can see on pole. But with the engine problem we had in Zandvoort at the Dutch Grand Prix with the, I believe it was the electronic control unit, I decided, now I had one other component I could have switched to, or I could have run it that's like on 20% wear or whatever, but I decided not to chance it, just go with a fresh, again, I think it's the ECU, I'll have to double check. So I'll be getting a 10-place grid penalty, so I'll be starting in P11 in actuality. But that's not the main story here. So I was doing practice, and throughout practice I noticed, Yuki Tsunoda is doing pretty well. They must have really done some upgrades on the AlphaTauri. Turns out that's not the case. Turns out, in actuality, we just talked in the last episode, I think, about how after Zandvoort was, or going into Zandvoort was midway through the season, so the contracts come up and everything. Well, and quite possibly the dumbest driver swap I've ever seen on any F1 game, Yuki Tsunoda and Valtteri Bottas have swapped seats. Bottas is now in AlphaTauri, and Yuki Tsunoda is now in a Mercedes. Like, I don't even have words for that swap. It makes absolutely no sense. It's fun, but it makes absolutely zero sense. Especially after Valtteri Bottas literally is coming off the back of winning a race in Hungary a couple races ago for Mercedes. So that is something. And I'll double check. I'm pretty sure that is the only driver swap that occurred. Everything else looks normal, aside from Yuki Tsunoda being a Mercedes. So I don't even know how to view that. I don't even know how to react to that. It's bonkers. It's absolutely, positively, totally bonkers. So I know the driver's sauce could be crazy. Didn't know they'd be that crazy.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. Looks like you had a great qualifying session. It must be a relief being that far up the grid. The weather hasn't been ideal in qualifying. What's your take on it? It must be incredibly frustrating to not make it to the end of a race due to car issues. What went wrong out there? Great.
Excuse me. I sneezed there for a second.
So, unfortunately, we've picked up some grid penalties, and we'll be starting further back than you expect. As for how bad it is, that'll depend on what the other drivers get.
So of course I still am credited with winning the pole for the Italian Grand Prix, though obviously I won't be starting there. Okay, so yep, it was actually not the control electronics, it was the energy store. So that's what it was, the energy store that failed. I was a little nervous because, as you can see, the one that I had been using was already worn, and was more worn than the one that failed. So I decided to go with a fresh one. So it's fresh power unit all around, for the most part. We've got a bunch of developments coming in for the car over the next couple of weeks. Two minors and two majors. I have enough points to purchase another upgrade, so I'm gonna go see where we are in most need of an upgrade. Arrow could use something. The chassis could use something. Engine-wise, we're pretty okay. I think the chassis is probably where we want to go. The question is, what do we go with? I can go with an engine cover. These are both major upgrades on the car. I guess we'll go with this one. Doesn't give us a ton of room in terms of points, but hey, we'll go with it. And with all of that, actually, just to confirm that I'm not going crazy with the oh, I thought I could see them in the driver's suit, so I guess not. Again, Bottas literally finished second in the next race, in the previous race. I don't know why Mercedes would have any motivation to drop him for Tsunoda. Right, for rookie's doing okay. I mean, he's got points. He's got a couple points finishes there, but nothing to write home about, really. But, that's the way it works, but, we will go to the Italian Grand Prix now. Starting from 11th and seeing how far up the field we can get.
It's time for the Italian Grand Prix once again, here at the beloved and iconic Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. With the lowest downforce and drag of any circuit in the season, expect to see drivers making the most of the slipstream effect here today. We're 12 miles northeast of Milan for today's Grand Prix at a Monza circuit where we can expect top speeds of around 215 miles per hour. 11 corners on this 3.6-mile track, with 7 of those coming in the form of chicanes. And with a good slipstream and DRS open, there should be plenty of opportunity for some passing here today. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Let's have a chat about McLaren. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Yuki Tsunoda completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Sergio Perez, the owner driver. They've taken a grid penalty.
Excuse me?
Stroll, Raikkonen,
What?
Bottas, and George Russell. Joe, Sainz, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Nicholas Latifi and Vettel. Fernando Alonso, Ocon. Antonio Giovinazzi and Nikita Mazepin. Ricciardo, Norris, they've taken a grid penalty. Gasly and Mick Schumacher. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Well, did not expect that. So, I end up only going back 5 spots because everyone else apparently took a grid penalty. Or most everyone else did. So we're in a much better position than we would have been originally, which is pretty good. Strategy-wise, we do have a free choice of tire here because it rained in qualifying, but I think the obvious strategy, the only strategy really, is to start on softs and go to the mediums. So that's what we are going to do. And if we check the race director, everybody is starting on softs. But look at this mixed up grid. You got pretty standard up front. Mercedes, Red Bulls, Ferrari. But then behind me you got Kimi Räikkönen starting in the top 10, George Russell starting at the top 10, my teammate starting at P11, and people like Sebastian Vettel, the Alpines, the McLarens particularly, they are all the way back there. So this is a mixed up grid, aside from like the front 5 or so. So it should be an eventful race to see who can make it to the front and who gets
our
stuck.
system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of the lap. Okay, here's who we're really fighting today. Perez and Stroll. No rain expected. No rain expected for the time being. Dries seem like the best tyre for now.
Excuse me. So, here we go. Of course, the last race in Zandvoort was a short one due to our retirement from the Grand Prix with an engine failure. And again, should be a very interesting Italian Grand Prix. Can Tsunoda win in his debut for Mercedes? Can anyone else? How will the mixed up grid turn out?
Will begin as soon as the grid has formed. Be ready with the clutch.
Can our teammates score points? It's possible. We'll find out though. As we go, the 5 red lights for the Italian Grand Prix. Lights out and we're underway. They're going 3 wide behind us. Oh, they're going 4 wide into the corner, and we just kamikaze to the inside. That was not ideal. It was not pleasant. Did we damage our front wing there? Nah, it's good. and that did not turn out well.
There's been an incident on track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just be careful.
Oh man, that came up so quickly. Did not expect to be on the back of Leclerc immediately going into that corner. On Stroll from the outside in his Aston Martin. We are not going to let him by though, as we run way wide. I think I could have gotten through that chicane a little bit better. I hit the curb on the inside there. Actually kind of worked out that time. Trying to stay within Leclerc's DRS range right now, which is crucial for our race. I won't be available this time, even though it will be activated, but we've broken the barrier to Lance Stroll, which I'm happy about. Lewis Hamilton sits the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, no surprise there.
DRS will be enabled.
DRS is now enabled.
Use it when within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Might be able to make a pass on Leclerc going into this next corner, we'll see. Yes, we got the move done. We are into
Brilliant.
P5.
Nice move.
We're going to have DRS this time around on Sergio Perez. I don't know if Perez will have DRS. He does not, so this should be a fairly easy pass for 4th place on the Mexican driver from Red Bull. down to turn 1, easy as you like. Maybe not as easy as I like. So a little bit of a poor entry into the chicane. Or I guess coming out of the chicane, I should say. Now the challenge is going to be catching up to Max Verstappen and getting into his DRS range. And that was a purple Sector 1, largely thanks to the DRS. Perez is going to have a shot at me here. Gonna make him go to the right. Oh, Perez, what are you doing? Now we're starting to lose a little bit of ground to Verstappen. You know, I should just let Sergio Perez pass me. Because then I can get DRS on him. Going down the long straightaway. The long front straightaway. That trick's gonna work out perfectly for me. Perez has no DRS while we do. We can go down low, we go high. And back into 4th place. Oop. Touched the grass just a little bit. Which hindered our exit.
Okay, gap ahead is 1.5 seconds.
the same thing we did with Perez earlier, force him down low. Oh, screw you, Perez. Come on.
There's been an incident on track resulting in loose debris. Fortunately, the marshals have managed to clear it up in time, and there are no plans for a safety car right now.
Really? Use the chance to take some screenshots there of the driver swaps, I guess just to prove that they did in fact occur.
Our gap to the car in front is 1.6 seconds. Be aware we expect the grip levels to start falling away soon.
Really gonna try to see if I can gain a position on Verstappen by doing an undercut. So pit window says lap 11, but we're gonna try lap 10. See if we can gain any advantage with that on Max Verstappen and potentially get away from the guys who are hounding us from behind. Yeah, so basically right now I'm in a dogfight with Perez, Leclerc, and Stroll. For 4th place.
We're in P4. Verstappen ahead. The gap to the car ahead is 2.1 seconds. They're on old softs. Perez behind. Less than a second separate you. They're on old softs. Okay, gap to leader, 7.0 seconds. We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the mediums.
The problem is that Leclerc and Stroll, it's sort of a DRS train right now with this mini pack right here. So Leclerc and Stroll can't make moves on each other, or Perez, because Perez has DRS on me.
Gap to car in front is 2.6 seconds.
Her projection is coming out in P15, which see where P15 is. So 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. So we'll be right around this pack with not Yuki Tsunoda, but Pierre Gasly. And there's a bit of a gap from Gasly back to my teammate Guan Yu Zhou. Oh, and Leclerc looked on the outside of Perez for just a brief moment. I mean, he's right there. But again, it's just that fact that Perez has DRS. Could be seeing a three-way fight here going into turn 1. Leclerc's not close enough. See, Perez tries to cut me off into turn 1, but it's not working out too well for him.
Pitting this lap then. Come into the pits at the end of this lap. Affirmative. Medium tyres at the next stop.
Alright, we'll do the mid-session save. We're coming right in this time. We're going to put on a set of medium tires and go to the end from there, see if the undercut helps us out any.
Go now.
Pretty decent stop. Ricardo and Ocon also had the same idea.
Look after these tyres
They
now.
came in as
You wanna
well.
finish the race on this compound.
Unfortunately, because those guys pitted, that gave me a much wider, I guess, not wider area, but more breathing room. So, you know, the next car ahead of me is Alonso, who's 6 or 7 seconds up the road. Which means that not only am I on fresh tire, oh god, that's why you do not want to hit those sausage curbs. Can we see that again? Just launch in the air. Yo! I think that's picture worthy. Of course, it's very ironic that I took those pictures with the signage in the background, advertising Emirates Airlines, I guess, with the Fly Better logo for the slogan. But yeah, as I was saying, I have a clear track ahead, fresh tires, so this outlap's all about pushing to the best of my ability, seeing what we can get. Now, let's see who decides to pit here. So we've got, who is this? Which Red Bull? This is Verstappen pits, Hamilton pits, Leclerc pits, as does Stroll. Perez stays out, so we could potentially get a real big jump on Sergio Perez. We'll have to wait and see. And in the meantime, let's see where we come out in relation to Stroll and Leclerc.
We've got a great chance of taking the position. Come on, we know you can do it.
There they go. We are well in front of them. We're actually pretty close to catching and now passing Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. So using that undercut absolutely worked to our favor. We have completely jumped the Dutch driver for Red Bull as he tries to make a move on us on cold tires. Not going to work out too well for him. Now I'm very intrigued to see where Sergio Perez comes out in all of this. So I guess Yuki Tsunoda as well. I really don't know where he's going to end up here, because I don't recall how close Verstappen was to Tsunoda. Hamilton's 8 seconds up the road. There's Perez. I think Tsunoda must have already pitted.
Guan Yu is coming in for his stop.
So now we are in the podium position. Meanwhile, Perez has dropped back to being behind Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. So Perez was definitely the biggest loser. Both Red Bulls were actually, if we're being honest. The only issue we're running into now is I've completely used up my ERS, so I've got nothing to defend with against Max Verstappen, who just blows by us.
Focus. We need to stay on form.
In the Red Bull, but we will get DRS. We'll see if we can fight back on him. Or at least stay in touch with him. Well, didn't want to break that late. Again, if we could stay in DRS range of Verstappen and just have him pull us along, that will work out just as well for us, I think. At least until we're ready to mount a charge again, once we get our ERS replenished. Right now it's still relatively low. Now, Charles Leclerc is sort of in a bit of a no man's land at the moment. He's about 2.5 seconds behind us, but he's well outside of Sergio Perez's DRS range as he is battling Lance Stroll.
We're leading our teammate by 30.9 seconds.
Didn't want to run into him. So far my strategy is working out pretty well. Just staying close to Verstappen, not passing him yet. I have all the time in the world to pass him as long as I stay close.
Car behind is dropping back by about 0.3 a lap.
Oh. Say close, but not quite that close. No retirements so far in this Grand Prix. Everyone is still running on track. Actually, I really haven't had the chance to really look at the running order since the pit stops. Race director. Okay, so Hamilton leads. Sonoda is in second. Verstappen is in third. I'm in fourth. Then Leclerc, Perez, Stroll, Bottas, Sainz, and Vettel are the top 10, followed by the two McLarens who oddly decided to go on hard tires. Here, Gasly, Alonso, Esteban Ocon, Giovinazzi, my teammate, Mick Schumacher, George Russell, Nikita Mazepin, Kimi Räikkönen, Nicholas Latifi. That could have gone a little bit better. Went wide into the chicane, and that actually cost me a lot of time. The Ascari chicane. And so basically riding back at Verstappen has allowed me to pull a 4.3 second gap, now 4.4 second gap to Leclerc. And meanwhile, Perez...
The car behind is dropping back by about 0.3 a lap.
And meanwhile, Leclerc is all by himself because Perez and Stroll have been going back and forth with their own battle for 6th place. little wide there, but we're still okay. Still in DRS range.
We're starting to catch the car in front, but we need to look after the tyres. We won't be making another pit stop.
Gosh darn it, we hit him again. And I'm not getting a good run through that exit of the chicane. That's better. So Perez, or not Perez, but Leclerc, is now about 5 seconds behind me. I think I'm going to wait a little while longer to make a move on Verstappen. Maybe to like lap 24. Is when I'll decide to make the move. So we're not going to catch Tsunoda at this point. He's got fresher tires than us by 2 laps. He's almost 6 seconds up the road. And even if we got by Verstappen earlier, we would be too busy trying to defend from him as opposed to actually passing him. So we're actually catching Tsunoda, I mean. So
You're increasing the gap on the car behind by 0.5 per lap.
just continuing to allow Verstappen to pull us along here.
No issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. We have 5 laps of fuel remaining.
Alright, now's the time we gotta make the move happen. It's 4 laps to go. Now we can go really on the attack and try to get Verstappen for third. Oh no, Valtteri Bottas out of the race. Must have been an engine failure. We'll take a look. Yep, there he goes up in smoke. And in his first race for AlphaTauri, Valtteri Bottas pulls it up alongside at the end of the second Lesmo. And he is done only a few laps before the finish. Actually, that's double bad luck for AlphaTauri, because I believe they had retirements at Zandvoort as well, with Pierre Gasly at least. So, anyway, back to our fight. We're going to make a move to the inside. And we absolutely dive bomb it, and it sort of worked. Let's take a look. And the problem is that I just didn't make the turn. That time it worked though. Dive bomb, but it worked the second time. We're now into P3 on the podium. Probably would have been within a shot to win this race if we did not take that engine penalty, but felt it was better to be safe than sorry on that front.
Yellow flag.
Of course, there's the retired
Someone's come off ahead of you.
AlphaTauri
There's
of
a yellow flag
Bottas.
ahead. Green flag.
Now,
There's 3 laps of fuel remaining.
we have 2 laps left to defend from a hard charging Max Verstappen is right on our tail. Force him low. Try to make another dive bomb into turn 1 to make this pass. And made the wrong call to go to the left when I probably should have gone to the right. There we go, that's better. Nice and easy. Round the first chicane, and we're back into
That's
P3.
You've moved into a podium position.
So fortunately, the start-finish line is where it is, and it's not further down the pit straight.
Okay, gap ahead is 7.6 seconds.
Here comes Verstappen. We're going to be going side by side into the Ascari chicane. That was a little too iffy, I guess. Let's try. Or I guess a little more questionable. Whoa, that was even worse. behind him and try to pass him again. I mean, we will be in DRS, so we at least have that in our back
Hamilton has
pocket.
just put up the fastest lap of the race so far.
Alright, final lap this time. Here we go.
This is your final lap of the race.
In for another dive bomb here. Getting close.
You're dropping a second a lap to the car behind, 1 second.
Got Verstappen that time. Now the focus is just going to be defending, defending, defending.
We have 2 laps of fuel remaining.
Battle of the energy drinks. Rockstar Energy versus Red Bull. Let's watch him after the second Lesmo here. This is where he got me the last lap. We'll have DRS here, but he won't have DRS on the run down to the final corner. Go to the inside this time, but he's going to back it out a bit. Let him go to the outside. That's not really the place to be. Put on the ERS. I'm going to skate away to score a third place finish in the Italian Grand Prix.
Yes, 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 we're on the podium. Good job this weekend, great drive, thank you.
Daniel Ricciardo gets driver of the day.
Here we are then, a thoroughly deserved win in Italy after another excellent Grand Prix.
Hamilton
Anthony
extends his
Davidson, a
championship
resounding
lead.
victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on the track was today: speed. I know it sounds like an obvious thing to say, Crofty, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
So after a magnificent race,
And
we
there
can
you
now
see
the drivers making
Yuki
their way to
Tsunoda
the
in
podium.
that Mercedes
Once again, it's
uniform.
The Silver
Just
Arrows who take top
still
spot. A well-earned
still cannot
victory for
believe
Mercedes.
that this driver transfer actually happened.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
Well, Crofty, Daniel Ricciardo would have to be my driver of the day. It's less about what he did right, but how little he did wrong. Perfect driving.
It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for the next one.
So that was the Italian Grand Prix. Take a look at the standings. Constructors, we extend our lead, although Ferrari, I think they might have gained a little because both of their cars are in the points over us, which is just only one car. So I think Ferrari are our main competitors in that regard. And McLaren, even with 9th and 10th, they still got, they got points, so they are really firmly in 3rd place at this point. Driver standings wise, Hamilton now 60 points ahead of Max Verstappen. Bottas still sitting in 3rd, even though he's in an AlphaTauri now. And I presume Yuki Tsunoda will climb the standings pretty quickly now that he is in a Mercedes. Will he get to the top 3? We'll see. We might get to the top 3, but we actually jumped Lando Norris for P4, so yeah, I think the end of the year for that 3rd spot is going to be a battle between myself, Lando Norris, and probably Yuki Tsunoda at this stage. Yeah, that was the Italian Grand Prix off the heels of a massive amount of well, not a massive amount of driver swaps, but one particularly notable driver swap.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. How do you feel these grid penalties are affecting the sport? You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled. It was more like Dodgems than Formula 1 today, wasn't it? Appreciate your time.
Yeah, first question, I just had to go no comment, because the one comment I could have gone with would have killed me with the team morale, or one of the department morales, probably. Well, thanks to those grid penalties for Ricciardo and him starting all the way back there, we gain a ton on him. In the rivalry, as we get close to claiming another sponsor, which I'm sure we'll get before the end of the season. Fortunately, we do not have to worry anymore about contracts of Yuki Tsunoda until the end of the year, so we can start to spend a little bit more money. And thankfully, this was the end of a triple header, so we have some more time between this race and the next.
The team's income is looking very robust right now. It's time for you to have a think about our profit margin and what areas of the operation might benefit from that money.
Which is good. Let's see. The chassis department could use a morale boost. Though that is not available as an option. Sponsor advertisement for the vehicle gives us some cash, gives us some team acclaim. Seems like a pretty easy one to do. Sponsor event filming. And then, I guess we'll do this just to gain some resource points, even if it's only 22. Durability department.
How do you want us to deal with this one?
Okay, so here we go. This is very interesting. A recent breakthrough from the durability department has resulted in the team finishing ahead of schedule. Oh, that's good. We could get the team to do some extra R&D or use the time to schedule some promotional content for the team. So this is one where we can win either way. We can get some 1,000 team acclaim. But I think our R&D is important, especially after that failure in Zandvoort, and 562 resource points is pretty juicy.
Not an easy decision, but you handled it well. Thanks.
So that was an easy call for me. Get some big resource points, especially in the event that something fails. So before the next race should be the major aerodynamics upgrade coming in on the 17th. for the Russian Grand Prix, which did come in, which is good.
Okay, we've had the new parts come through the fabrication process. We'll have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
Alright, that's good. Everything looking good. And I think we can do another facility upgrade. Look at the price. See what is the best option for us at this point in time. I think I will go with increasing the build time on the aerodynamic side, which will come in on September 28th. So that's good. I think we'll save the resource points. Unless there's something minor we can get an upgrade on. There could be some minor durability thing. You know what? Let's go with this energy store upgrade. It's 338. We can use it. But the department capacity has been reached, so we can't do that right now. Is there anything minor that doesn't cost a lot of money that we can, or money, resource points, that we can potentially go for? Doesn't look like anything right now, so we'll save off for the moment. And probably what we'll do is when we go into the Russian Grand Prix, we will purchase another upgrade to the car. And go from there. Actually, I want to take a look. So Guan Yu Zhou is at it. So my original plan was to keep Guan Yu Zhou on for a second season and then sort of go from there. Now I'm starting to I'm starting to question that decision or that potential decision. See the driver market. How does he compare to some other people? 67. He's about on par with Nikita Mazepin. Christian Lundgaard is another driver who's in the Renault development driver program. Let's see. He's got good focus right now, at least as a free agent. Especially compared to Guan Yu Zhou. They're the same rating, a little less experience, a little less than everything, but he is, you know, Guan Yu Zhou is getting the benefit of our, you know, the enhancements for the driver. So yeah, I am sort of considering potentially swapping drivers going into season 2. But we'll just have to wait and see how that goes, because we got a lot of races left. And next one is the Russian Grand Prix, so thank you for watching the Italian Grand Prix.